going. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Ranger Devlog. Today is episode 2, and we're going to be going over a little overview of the player, the first base enemy, and also the backstory of Ranger. A little more that I've been piecing together, and I want to share with you guys. So, as some of you may or may not know, Ranger is set in a post-apocalyptic future, and humans aren't really around that much. What happened was that robots were manufactured to fight wars and fight each other. But eventually they got smart enough to think, you know what, we don't need to keep fighting. We have to just exterminate humans. And so that's what they did. And that created a World War III in the game's history. And because of that World War III, humans were almost completely wiped out, extinct, but also the robots were almost destroyed. So now it's this kind of fight between robots and the humans for dominance over the planet. And then we put our character right in the middle of that. So our character wakes up and doesn't know the full extent of what has happened over the multiple years that has elapsed since he was last awake and around. One thing that we're gonna find out later on is that he had some cybernetic and enhancement type of implants, and that's what gives him abilities later on in the game that you'll be able to unlock, and that will actually let you defeat the enemies pretty much. So on our website, varigonstudios.com, you can click here, learn more, find out more about Ranger and the story and some of the work that we've been doing with it. So I encourage you guys to go check it out. So I decided that since our character is going to have upgrades not only in skill, but also cosmetically, and that would somehow enhance his skills in certain situations, I decided, you know what, we need to start from the basics. We need to start shirtless. So I went ahead and did it. And so since he has no shirt, how would he be able to attach weapons? So then I had to create this strap for him to put on. That will be one of the first items that you receive in the game, is a strap where you can attach weapons. But what about all the movement until you get the strap? Well, I had to draw all of the movements, and I created 3 different idols. One where he just stands, one where he stands and looks around a little bit, and one where he stands and just stares at you, judging you. He's also got his jump, his dash, his run, and I haven't finished the sword skills yet. I haven't done the picking up and dropping off the sword, and then that will be mirrored into all of the subsequent weapons also, which we're gonna work on. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things that we worked on. All right, so in the spirit of getting more cosmetic items and clothing specifically, and armor, which is kind of clothing. So for clothing specifically, I drew up this kind of little miniature sprite sheet, this test sheet, if you will. And so this was the original look, and I just changed up some of the colors, you know, just changing it up, keeping it fresh, you know. But then I was happy with that. I was like, yeah, that's great. And let me know what you guys think about the colors. If you think I should add a color, remove a color, change a color, tell me, let me know. But I wasn't satisfied with just clothing. I wanted there to be an actual utility to it. And so I came up with making some armor. And now this armor, I haven't decided yet if it's going to be modular or just you put on the whole set. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will. Don't worry. Let me know what you think. So then I got these armor made, and there's, you know, the clothing with the helmets, and then there's also the full-on battle armor also. So that's some stuff that I did with the character, and because of that, all the animations are destroyed, as you can see. I literally have almost no shape. When our character does decide to have a form, we're now able to rotate them just with the mouse. And this will allow for combat without movement, pretty much. If you need to shift to some other side, wherever you're clicking, you know, wherever you want to go, you can go. And that's the same thing with console. It's just going to be the joystick. Only weird thing is, works fine over here, but it doesn't work over here. And that's what we call a bug, ladies and gentlemen. So I also modified the jump height and the fall speed. So now it's a much more snappy fall, and also the jump is not as high as it used to be. I know you can't really see the character too well, but trust me. So this little spoon type of thing, just floating randomly and moving, that was my first attempt for an enemy. That was my first attempt at an enemy. And let's just say it didn't go that well. We might use this in some other capacity, but not as a main enemy. So instead, our base enemy is now this guy. And this guy, let me tell you, that guy you do not want to mess with. And he is the lowest in power. But his animations will include hitting the floor with his fists at incredible speeds, shifting the ground below the player, depending on the radius, also crushing the player with his fists, stepping and stomping on the player, punching the player, and also grabbing the player by the neck and shooting it with its laser. Also just regular incineration by laser. So let's just say that this character, this enemy, is going to be extremely difficult. And of course, we have an idle animation and a few pass-throughs, but we don't have a full rendered animation yet. Okay, something else you might notice is all this grass here. I've created some in-between layers. Of course, there's still some things I haven't done yet. Like when you actually layer jump, it is way down there. And that's because the way that the layer jump works is we have to be above all the other planes for it to look right. And these are just not shifting up like the rest of these planes, which is easily fixable and will be fixed very soon. But that does give us the ability to add some more decoration in the world, like a tree that isn't right in your face, and some other things just in between space that could look really, really nice. So another thing that I've added is a timer between orthographic and perspective view. So before it would just snap automatically and you would be able to see the transition. And you can still see a transition on perspective, which is kind of a little bit what I wanted, maybe not as pronounced. So it depends, we're still gonna mess with it a little bit. But the great thing is, and again, I'm sorry that this is just a giant cube of nothingness, but when we layer jump before, because of the way that we're detecting the sky, it would, for a split second, mess everything up and cover the screen. So what I did was put a timer for half a second, and that gives us the perfect transition where if we're skipping through the layers, nothing goes wrong. And if we move, then it is still fast enough to calibrate all of the back layers, which is perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. So you may notice this new little feature right here, an FPS counter. I added that in because I want to start working on some optimizations too. Right now, the way that we're doing all these tile maps is we're iterating through them all on a for loop, and that can't be good. Hopefully, we can optimize it and make it run a little smoother, a little faster. Of course, the editor itself takes some of that FPS. We don't want to forget that, but for the most part, this is very unoptimized. So I also attempted some chunk loading and unloading and some procedural generation, and I just could not get anything to work. And technically, I got some of the chunk generation to work, but that brought down the FPS to about 4, and it was a terrible way of doing it. It was terrible. The problem with chunk loading is it seems like it's going to be almost impossible to do it with a tile map, first off. And second, we have 4 minimum. because now we also have 4 between each layer, which means that we actually have 20 layers in total, 20 tile maps in total. And that, if we can't do a chunk loading on one, we're not gonna be able to get it done on one. So maybe you guys know the fix to this. So if you do know, please let me know. I'd love to know if you know. Do you know? Let me know down below. All right, but that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed this devlog. If you have, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what's up in the comments below. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see, what you don't definitely not want to see. I don't know, that's not English. But also, please leave your recommendations for the armor and what it should do. What are some abilities that Ranger should have? I was playing around with some kind of teleportation. So if you've seen my stream, you know that I've been playing around with some teleportation ideas. And so if you have an idea on how to implement that, please let me know. I really want to know what you think. And any other cool abilities that you think Ranger should have. Player, the character, man, legend. We're gonna be doing another game also. It's a secret for now. Just wait, a week, 2 weeks, you'll have another devlog series. So stay tuned for that. That one. I mean, this one is exciting. That one's also exciting. They're both exciting, so be sure to subscribe. Subscribe right now. And hit the bell, notify yourself, stay notified. It's a big thing. Also, if you have time, go down to twitch.tv/Varigon Studios. Follow us there. There's gonna be things happening down there. We're gonna be streaming. Right now, streaming every Thursday, 6 a.m. sharp. Also, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Varigon Studios. All right, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed. See you guys in the next video.